Like with many games in the 90s, the original Spyro Trilogy is one set of games that has managed to insert itself into the hearts of so many gamers of today. Everything from its gameplay to its worlds to its charismatic characters and enemies helped in shaping these truly engaging 3D platformers. If the fanfare of the Reignited Trilogy in the last few months wasn't evidence enough of this, then well, where you been? And in tribute to this 3-dish meal of nostalgia, I've decided to go ahead and give my rankings to almost all the levels within this trilogy, from the unfortunate misses to the spectacular best. But before I get into all that, allow me to clarify a few things. First off, while I could base these rankings from the original games, I'm instead going to be sticking purely with what is seen in the Reignited Trilogy. So I don't want to be hearing any, yeah, but they did way much better in the original. Secondly, I'll be judging these levels based on the level design, art style and theme, enemies, and of course, their music. And lastly, as you may have picked up on, I'm not going to be talking about every level here, as there are a good handful that are not exactly easy to compare with one another, so being omitted from this list are all hub worlds, all flight/speedway levels, all endgame bonus levels, all levels only centered on boss battles, and finally, I figured I should probably throw in levels entirely dedicated to Year the Dragon's side characters, as they're just different enough, plus I'd probably end up just sticking most of them near the bottom anyway. So for those of you who haven't done the math, that's 22 levels from the original Spyro the Dragon, 18 from Spyro 2 Gateway to Glimmer, Ripto's Rage, and 16 from Spyro Year the Dragon, giving us a total of 56 levels to rank up. So don't be too shocked if I don't spend an equal amount of time with each one of them. And with all that out of the way, let's kick things off with number 56, Molten Crater. At the very bottom, we start off with a level whose biggest crime is simply how unimpressive it feels when compared to everything else. Despite it being one of Year the Dragon's first levels, it really has nothing that sticks out to me. Even levels we're about to see that have a significant flaw with them manage to save themselves thanks to something that pulls them up. But here, nothing. The theme to level feels like they just smashed the Idle Springs and Magma Core levels together. The level design feels unimpressive even with the additional activities, and its music and colours just leaves little to excite, thus it ends up at the bottom of this long climb. Number 55, Ice Cavern. Of all the levels in Spyro 1, this one is probably the most forgettable in my opinion. I can't even call it the ice level because usually that entails something marginally different from your standard level. I guess the enemies throw snowballs, and it's cold. Number 54, Haunted Tomb. Artistically, this level is alright with everything you'd expect to come with an ancient Egyptian themed location. My biggest gripe though comes with just how annoying certain things can get at times, whether it be the constantly respawning mummies, the room with randomly falling rocks coming down, the tank battles, and the slide in which you essentially have to push up against the side in order to have a chance of getting around the last corner. It all just piles up in the end. Number 53, Twilight Harbour. As the last level before the fight with Nork, I was hoping for this level to give it its all, and with the exception of the admittedly tough enemies, the setting isn't very menacing and comes off just a little too dull for my taste, with the only real high point in it being using the drawbridge to supercharge your way up to a secret room. That's really it. Number 52, Dino Mines. I don't think I need to explain myself when I say that dinosaurs in a Wild West setting is a pretty awesome concept alone, and I'm surprised that more games don't crib from it more often. With that said, as unique of an idea as it is, it's unfortunate that outside of its enemies, it comes off rather dull overall. I think for me, when it comes down to it, it's the simple fact that its level design feels rather dull and barren thanks to how flat and squared everything can feel. Yes, you heard me right, I just complained about how box-like the buildings can feel. But more than that, I just don't think it was able to present the epicness of a Western setting in my mind, which honestly is something other games have had problems with in the past. I'm just making all kinds of friends today, aren't I? Number 51, Toasty! It's only an iconic level, but I still find it distracting that the enemies here manage to put up more of a fight than the level's boss, even if it is admittedly a little humorous. The music here also feels way too sinister for early on, making me think of how much better suited it is to the last hub world. Number 50, Dark Hollow. While I admit this level has some nice colours to it, and is primarily here just to introduce the different types of enemies to you, it can however feel a little too cramped and is over in a few seconds. Number 49, Magma Cone. Okay, let's get this out of the way. The music in this level has a part in it where a golem sounds like he just stepped on a Lego brick. While I do like the final climb up the volcano, artistically I don't know what they were going for here. Volcano in mind, I personally would have recommended a Pompeii theme to it, but I guess they wanted to save a Roman theme for another day. Number 48, High Caves. Once again, another with nothing really bad about it, it's just a little too plain for me is all. I guess making huge jumps thanks to the supercharge is enjoyable, and the metal spiders are quite intimidating, but that's about it. Number 47, Metalhead. Metalhead. This is probably the only boss in the original Spyro that even comes close to putting up a fight, so it has that at the very least. With that said, the fortress-like setting could have worked in a lot better had it tied in more to the mad scientist design of the boss. Number 46, Town Square. This level is alright for teaching you about gliding, and I do like the Spain theme used for it, but what weighs it down in the end is the rather drab colours, and again, it just being over in a few minutes. Yes, I know there's starter levels, but still. Number 45, Terrace Village. With the emphasis of the more technologically advanced enemies taking up the majority of this level's intrigue, had they not appeared in the hub world, they could have probably helped this level stick out some more. Number 44, Bamboo Terrace. Feels like this level should have tons of things for me to talk about, but other than the cute pandas and the breakbeat used in the music, there's surprisingly little to deconstruct here. Number 43, Spooky Swamp. I'll admit, I do like the dark lit aesthetic to this setting, but I can't help but feel like design-wise it just comes off a little too basic for something so artistically striking. What really ends up becoming this level's greatest sin though is the escort mission with Sheila that can go straight to hell if you ask me. Number 42, Dry Canyon. Admittedly, this level manages to have a good balance of decent platforming and varied enemies, but sadly it ends up just coming off a little too standard. Number 41, Jacques. Yet another boss fight that somehow manages to faceplant itself into the ground. At the very least, the hellish setting is unique along with the creepy hellspawn along with it, making these clock falls feel just a little bit out of place if I'm to be honest. Number 40, Stone Hill. I know what some of you are going to say, oh it's the first level in the entire series, surely that gets it high marks just for nostalgia's sake. While this level and its music are iconic to many, it really only succeeds in letting you get an idea of charging around and possibly exceeding a level's boundaries. Number 39, Hurra Coasts. One of the more drearier looking levels, we get a bit of a mini collective ongoing with us having to find electrodes to open gates. While the mission to foil the power draining scheme offers up some challenging platforming, the Power Stone mission ends up counteracting this thanks to how monotonous it can feel. Number 38, Lost Fleet. I don't know about you guys, but I don't remember this level taking just roughly 2 minutes to beat. Yes, I know it might seem that way when both the skateboarding race and sub-destroying take place afterwards, but still. Swimming under acid is cool though, even if it does give me the willies just thinking about it. Number 37, Idle Springs. When we playing this highly nostalgic level, I was sure it would place high, but after the dust had settled, I realised there really wasn't that much to get crazy over. The tropical island art style is probably the best thing about it, but everything else from the enemies, to the missions, to the music are just... really? Number 36, Clifftown. This level has a nice overall design to it thanks to how after reaching the top it encourages you to use your gliding to almost walk out the level's boundaries. Number 35, Cloud Temples. Don't know about you, but this level doesn't exactly scream final stretch to me. It was neat to have Ice Breath show up for the first time, I like the pan flute used in the music, and this secret agent, I say that in huge quotation marks, is fun, though still very perplexing. I mean, honestly, he could have shown up in any level and he'd feel just as out of place there as he is here. Number 34, Blowhard. This is probably one of the most gorgeous looking levels in not just the original Spyro but the entire trilogy. With that said, it's unfortunately one of the shortest levels as well, and comes with some of the easiest platforming and one of the easiest bosses that I've ever gone up against in a video game. Number 33, Glimmer. As the starting level for Spyro 2, it's naturally a cakewalk when it comes to both its enemies and platforming, but I do like the idea of a level dedicated to the series' currency, and you gotta love that feel-good music to it. Number 32, Dr Shem. Unlike Toasty, this one actually feels a bit more like a boss fight in it, plus look at that eclipse man, that is just gorgeous. Number 31, Crystal Glacier. In most cases, having a level that is somehow interconnected with another world would earn it extra points. This one though feels a little dampened down when you compare it to its other, that being the Skelos Badlands. Number 30, Lofty Castle. This level is, good I guess? I like that you have to say fairies to help get around. I like the Norks and the balloons and the demonic cupids. The music's fun, I guess. Look, they can't all be informative knee slappers, alright? Number 29, Cloud Spires. This level is bright, charming and interesting enough, but surprisingly the best thing about this level are the side missions where you get to fix the sun and rain in it. Number 28, Seashell Shores. I find it easy to get this level mixed up with Aquatic Towers a lot of time, I realise, and I think it mostly comes down to it not really doing much anything better, with the one exception of the fortress fight with Sheila. Number 27, Haunted Towers. Well, this level's named a tad misleading, seeing as it's only one giant castle within a set of towers, plus other than the suits of armour, I'd hardly call this place haunted. Anyway, this level has super fire breath in it, so it's pretty alright overall. Number 26, Wizard Peak. While this supercharged level may not be as open as the high caves, I do kinda like it more, plus it's one of the few times you get to say Ice Wizard Bowling. Number 25, Robotica Farms. I'll admit, I like the idea of taking something as simple as an everyday farm, but with a slight sci-fi twist to it all. It's just a shame that outside of the robot farmers and the giant metallic bugs, we don't really see much else in that inkwell of imagination, unless giant seesaws are somehow the way of the future. Number 24, Nork Cove. While I find it weird they decided for the last world to have only 2 levels lead up to the final boss, I very much preferred this one over Twilight Harbour just for the kick you get out of launching barrels at enemies, as well as blowing up explosives over their heads. Number 23, Scorch. It's certainly weird for the decision to add a spy-themed layered over an Arabian one, but what's weirder is that they don't really play into it much. Also, I assume they most likely changed this guy's name from Bombo to Bob so as to not seem racist, but I can't help but ask, if this is Bob, would that be his toys he's throwing at me? Number 22, Sonny Villa. Moving on, we get Year of the Dragon's introduction world, which while lacking in platforming does start things off by reinforcing the inspired by time period or iconic geographic levels we got now and then for the previous game, which does well in bringing this pinnacle civilization to life, though I don't remember raising chickens being a thing. Number 21, Aquaria Towers. As the first level to focus almost entirely on swimming, there's a good opportunity to have fun exploring in almost all directions here. I like it in games when you find some way to make you feel like you're healing the world somehow. Except for those sharks. Screw those sharks. Number 20, Mystic Marsh. The open African jungle setting is one that manages to be pretty explorative, which ends up benefiting its 2 missions, particularly in the scavenger hunt that has you having to memorize important sites. Number 19, Charmed Ridge. Another level to show up in these sequels that feels like it belongs more in the original game. There's immediately a lot that can be traced back to previous levels, like the shifting landscape, the enemies growing in size, and even a puzzle that has you using seeds to progress forward. With that said, if you're going to borrow stuff, you may as well at least borrow the good stuff. Number 18, Frozen Altars. This level gets a lot of love from what I've seen, mostly, if not entirely, due to it temporarily swapping out Spyro's normal fire breath for an ice-themed one instead. And while I do really enjoy this major tweak, I can only think of 2 real instances where it actually added anything new, that being freezing this guy to get on top of a ledge, and in the cat hockey stadium. Number 17, Misty Bog. Besides being a very colourful level to be shown off, there's a good balance of both enemies and platforming here. Number 16, Colossus. I have a feeling that I'm not the only one who got this level stuck in their head way back, simply just from that monk chant used in the music. Anyway, this level is, well, considerably easy, as you really only have to chat to the monks to proceed forward, but even so, I really like the details used in the background, especially those related to the monk's love of hockey. Number 15, Alpine Reach. Most probably remember this level for its mostly intimidating beast enemies, but I also dig the wizards messing around with the environment, and just wanted the use of space for tons of long gliding throughout. Number 14, Crystal Islands. Of all the levels on this list, this feels the most fitting for the term style over substance. Everything is just so artsy that it almost feels like we've stumbled onto one of those unique indie games you catch for a few seconds during an E3 press conference, only to forget its name moments later. And while flying around also highlights this, I find it weird that the equally looking nice enemies can all be taken out by simply burning them, plus that whack-a-mole minigame is one of the few missions that still remains frustrating. Number 13, Skelos Badlands. So apparently this level is considered to be one of the best in the entire trilogy, hence why it's sitting nice and high at number 14. This will go well. In all seriousness, I do enjoy a good portion of it myself, it's just hard to understand why this level in particular is so special. For me anyway, I like the cavemen and the different wildlife the setting provides. Using invincibility to walk on lava is a really neat idea, and come on, who doesn't love that bone dance? Number 12, Icy Peak. Well, I'm sure some of you are surprised that of all the snow levels, this one ended up the highest instead of Frozen Altars. I think this level fits better in my opinion, with using ice cannons to clear walls of ice and whirlwinds, chasing thieves on the runway and protecting the ice skater are fun, and I really dig the solution to reaching the gems hidden under the ice. Number 11, Sunny Beach. This level used to put a real smile on my face, and it still does. The upbeat colours and music and a level about animal poaching makes it one that I wish I could spend more time with. Seems ridiculous to even label this level as an escort mission, seeing as all you need to do is open a few doors for some baby turtles who can't get hurt or lose their way, but I'll take pants easy over broken AI any day. Number 10, Breeze Harbour. If there was one word I could use to describe this level, it would be mellow. The calm music in the nighttime setting really help in cooling things down if you've tried some of the other levels nearby first. I also like the level's interconnection you get here with Zephyr, with the forces you end up helping in one world becoming your enemies in another, but their atmospheres are almost as different as, well, night and day. With that said, the minecart mission is also a lot of fun, even with the constant repetition of a certain line. Number 9, Enchanted Towers. One minor complaint I do sort of have with a huge majority of levels in these games is how we barely are given a reason as to why the big bads are conquering each location besides causing chaos and spreading more fear. Apparently though, they decided to give one to this level, with the goal being to destroy the statue the inhabitants have been forced to slave over. But even with that added motivation, we also get a nice dreamlike world, another even larger skate park, a puzzle about saving a dog, and we get to take Sergeant Bird out to explore even more. Is there really anything to complain about here? Oh yeah, they redesigned the inhabitants to look more like hipsters. Oh no, the horror. Number 8, Shady Oasis. This level is an escort mission done right. They're essential to moving forward, they don't get in the way and respond well-ish. They help you out a bit, and their motivation to get food is very relatable to me. Number 7, Treetops. This level for myself, and I assume for many others as well, is pretty much the definitive supercharged level, complete with a setting, though easy to plummet from, provides multiple routes to take, many of which lead to hidden loot. Add in the tree-like inhabitants along with a rocking piece of music, and you have a truly special level here. Number 6, Fractured Hills. This is a level I find you either love or hate, and you can guess with it being so high up where I stand with it. I really enjoy the openness of it all. I like how you have an upper layer that's lush and green while the other is lavary and dark. I like the supercharged mission, and I really like that catchy bagpipe song. I'd be scorned of course for not mentioning that in order to continue on the second mission with Hunter, you need to have the head bash move to even start it, meaning you need to redo the first mission again if you don't have it yet. So yeah, don't do that. Number 5, Desert Ruins. If adventure was the theme this level was trying to nail down, I'd say it got the job done. The ancient Greek architecture fits in well, helping to create this gauntlet-like structure to everything, as if we're on one of those obstacle course TV shows that you'll have to watch people fail on all the time. The mission with Sheila is a nice nod to the Crash series, even if it can be a little jarring to control. The music even has that action movie beat to it that a lot of films in the 90s seem to have. Now that I think about it, it could also fit well as one of the more action-packed tracks from another person's game series who makes a sort of cameo here. Number 4, Dark Passage. Not only is this one of the more colourful levels here, but the enemies really help in creating a dreamlike atmosphere, with them starting out as almost harmless pests to becoming nightmarish creatures. The interdimensional background also adds to this, making me wonder at times if you can catch a glimpse of Doctor Strange and Dormammu far off in the distance. Number 3, Zephyr. This is one of those levels that just feels so jam-packed to me. The battleground-like setting helps to make the action feel constantly present, and there's a real wide palette of colours used here as well. On a side note, what is it with games having quests based on Romeo and Juliet all the time? I can't be the only one who sees this, right? Number 2, Metropolis. While there have been a few levels on this list that have admittedly not managed to keep afloat after all these years, even with a new coat of paint on them, this one managed to do the opposite and has actually risen above my past thoughts, providing what is probably one of the most unspiral locations to date, yet still works thanks to its surreal imagery and just general fun. And number 1, Fireworks Factory. Looking back at all the levels we've gone over, I'll admit it's hard for me to fully justify why this one deserves to be at the top spot. It's one that focuses more on enemies than platforming, it doesn't really allow for many split paths, there's no real secrets to discover. What is it that really stands out amongst the rest? The thing about Spyro levels is that they are very interchangeable. One level might be straightforward with challenging enemies, while another might be very open with multiple objectives. The Firework Factory for me stands out mostly for sheer presentation, the music, the enemies, the level design, the art direction. It just fits together into feeling like you are on a mission infiltrating this fortress. Everything from ninjas to rockets to cannons to dragon battles to even a Wolfenstein style blaster mission. Throw in a much dated Matrix reference and there you have it, my personal favourite Spyro level. And there we have it folks. I can only guess that there are a handful of you that strongly disagree with me at one point or another, which I welcome with open arms, as I certainly can't claim to be an expert on what makes a Spyro level work at times rather than fail. However, I'll admit there were probably a few levels here and there that maybe earned a few points just for nostalgic's sake. I can only hope that some of my thoughts were well valued in the end and that overall you had a good time all the same. As always, thanks for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe for even more content to come your way.